The Dallas Mavericks traded for Christian Wood, and to be completely honest, at first I really didn't like this trade at all, but as I've sat with it a little bit more and looked into how Wood and Luka are going to work together, it's really starting to dawn on me just how impactful of a move this is for Dallas. It's no secret that Dallas was really lacking a supplementary scoring option out of the front court alongside Luka and Jalen Brunson, but with this trade, it's pretty safe to say that they filled that gap while giving up virtually nothing. The Mavericks sent out Marquise Chris, Boban Marjanovic, Trey Burke, Sterling Brown, and the 26th overall pick to acquire Christian Wood. That's pennies on the dollar for a guy who averaged 18 points and 10 rebounds on some really solid efficiency, and he's frequently been brought up in Most Improved Player and All-Star conversations over the past few years. And actually, I think that this trade scratches a lot of itches for Dallas and puts them in a much better position in the front court department than they were before the trade. I'd say one of the most glaring holes that Dallas had in the postseason was a reliable front court scoring option. Someone that could operate out of the low post and create shots without relying on Luka creating for them in the pick and roll. Christian Wood was really effective as a post-up scorer while not operating out of it in an overwhelming amount to where it takes touches away from Luka and the other offensive options. You look at a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, and he's one of the most post-up heavy players in the NBA, despite generally not being very good at it. But Christian Wood can go to it on occasion without dominating the ball. It can be an area that he goes to when Luka is off the floor or when the offense gets a bit stagnant. Another thing that I think Dallas was really lacking during the postseason was flexibility in terms of how they approach the offensive end of the floor. The nice thing about getting Christian Wood is the fact that he can either play center or power forward, so it gives you a little bit of flexibility in how you want to craft your lineup for any given matchup, because he can play kind of in that small ball role as more of a center at 6'10" who can stretch the floor, or he can play as more of a traditional power forward playing off of the wing, attacking closeouts and things of that nature that we typically expect power forwards to be doing. One aspect of Christian Wood's game that I think is going to work really, really well in Dallas's system, and I also think it's a skill of his that really flies under the radar, and that's his ability as a cutter. He has such a knack for getting into space and going downhill to receive passes. I shouldn't have to explain why this is a perfect fit next to a passer like Luka. It makes Luka's life a million times easier when he has players around him that can not only shoot threes, but also make high leverage cuts for Luka to find them for high percentage looks at the rim. A player like Christian Wood allows them to take a page out of the Golden State Warriors playbook. The Warriors thrive off of points from players making smart cuts to the basket and using their talented playmakers in Draymond and Curry to find them. This same kind of concept applies to Luka and the Mavericks. The more cutters that you can surround one of the very best playmakers in the NBA with, the better off you're going to be. Christian Wood also leverages his cutting ability to make plays for himself, and he flashed some of that with Houston this past season. Like we're going to see on this play, he passes to the man posting up on the baseline, and he immediately initiates a give and go, resulting in tons of open space for him to receive the pass going downhill for the slam. Here, they're going to get into this split action up top, and Wood is going to flash to the paint to receive the ball in stride for the dunk. The advantages of this is that he can generate his own offense off of cuts. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hand to get points at the rim. And to me, this is really the big difference between Christian Wood and Kristaps Porzingis, because I've been seeing a lot of comparisons drawn between the two for some reason, even though they're vastly different players. Christian Wood is able to contribute offensively without the ball in his hands. He knows when to make the right cuts and when to get open and into a position to receive the ball to create offense. Kristaps Porzingis didn't really do that. And I'm not trying to sit here and diss Kristaps Porzingis, but the idea that him and Christian Wood are comparable players is just not really an accurate comparison to me. And I don't know if you've noticed from the footage so far, but Christian Wood is a supremely gifted athlete at 6'10". It's actually kind of ridiculous how fast and powerful he is in such a big frame. This only adds to the intrigue of playing him alongside Luka. I don't want to take digs at guys like Dwight Powell or Maxi Kleber, but those guys aren't exactly the most gifted athletes in the world. And Wood's athleticism adds another layer to something as simple as a pick and roll, because he's a much more talented finisher and gifted athlete than these other guys, and he's going to force opposing defenses to honor him much more as a vertical threat. He was an incredibly effective roll man too, actually having one of the highest points per possession as a roll man, and he also stretches the floor really well, being one of the most efficient three-point shooting bigs in the entire NBA. This plays into the Dallas Mavericks play style for a couple of reasons. One, they're one of the most heavy pick and roll teams in the NBA. Having a more offensively reliable roll man aside from Kleber and Powell makes their already pick and roll heavy system that much more potent. And two, the Mavericks are an incredibly three-point heavy team, attempting the most three-pointers in the NBA during this year's playoffs with 41.5 three-point attempts per game. Christian Wood shot 39% from three on almost 5 attempts per game. Dwight Powell, if we're being brutally honest, has no real offensive game outside of dunks and easy feeds in the pick and roll. Wood is going to provide a new level of stretchability, allowing for the implementation of more pick and pops to be sprinkled in with all of the pick and rolls that Dallas already makes such a heavy use of. This is going to open up a ton of spacing for their wings as well. When Luka and Christian Wood are running pick and rolls, there's going to be a lot of space opened up on the perimeter for kickouts. Luka almost always draws at least 2 defenders when he's attacking the basket, and Christian Wood is going to warrant defensive attention as well, and of course that's going to allow for tons of wide open threes for their catch and shoot guys on the perimeter due to the defensive attention that these two are drawing in their two-man game. Real quick guys, I want to take a second to shout out the sponsor of today's video, and that's Basketball Index. Basketball Index is one of my favorite tools for finding interesting statistics on players. They've got a ton of tools that you can use, and one of my favorites is the headshot plots that you can make through their website. Say that you want to know who the best rebounders in the NBA are. All you have to do is go into the headshot tool at bballindex.com and put in your search criteria, hit plot graph, and then boom, you've got a unique chart showing you the league's best rebounders. You can get 20% off your first month subscription by using code AlexHoops20 when you sign up for a limited time. If you've ever been curious about where I get some of my stats, you can use Basketball Index and get access to them all right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description to sign up today. Once again, thank you so much to Basketball Index for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. Now, a lot has been made of Christian Wood's defense and whether or not he's going to be able to be impactful on the defensive end, or at the very least serviceable. So I spent a lot of time watching his defense from this season in Houston, and it's really not impressive by any means. As a matter of fact, I'd say that it looks pretty lazy, and he generally moves pretty slow and without much purpose or any interest. But that's such a stark contrast to the intensity that he shows on the offensive end, which is why I'm not quite ready to count him out as a defender. If you look at the last 2 teams that he's been on, they haven't really been situations that prioritized winning. So what reason is there to really play defense for if you know the goal isn't to win? This is going to be the first time that we see Christian Wood in a situation where he's going to be expected to contribute to winning. I think there's an at least average defender to be extracted out of him, and I'm pretty confident that Jason Kidd is going to be able to extract that value. Now, it's hard to tell how much of this is an issue with Christian Wood's ability as a defender and how much of it is contextual with the team that he's on. This is why I'm not putting a ton of stock into what we've seen from the last couple of years. Jason Kidd has proven that he is a great defensive coach, and I'm pretty confident that he can find a way to utilize Christian Wood in a way that minimizes any deficiencies that he might have. He's one of those situations where you can say he has quote unquote all the tools to be a good defender. It's just on Jason Kidd and of course Christian Wood to recognize that and make use of those natural gifts that he has. But overall, this trade has little to no downside for Dallas. They opened up 3 roster spots and they acquired a known offensive talent to put in the front court alongside Luka. Essentially, they traded the 26th overall pick to get Christian Wood if you look at it from a holistic perspective, and unless you think that they could have gotten someone better than Christian Wood with that 26th overall pick, I'd say this trade projects to be a win. As long as he's able to, at the very bare minimum, hold his own on defense and there's a realistic understanding of what his role is going to be in the offense, I think this trade makes Dallas an incredibly scary team in the Western Conference. If the Mavericks can capitalize in the offseason even further by acquiring a reliable defensive center, they really start to look like a potential favorite to come out of the West. So how do you feel about this trade? Do you think that Wood can be that second star alongside Luka Doncic? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and leaving a like. That's the #1 way to support me and help me continue to make content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.